Aside guys, Ifad back again with another video, and this is part 2 of the inventory management system that we were working on. I had uploaded the part 1 a few days ago, and this is the part 2 and the final part of that video. Now, while I was doing the planning for this second part, I decided to make a small tweak to the system to make it more useful. Okay, a very small enhancement that we'll be making. That will, like I said, will make it more useful. Okay, so let's get started. So it part 1, what we did was we had set up the master sheet, then we had the reservation, purchases, and the sales. Okay, I'm just going to rename this to reservations just so they're consistent with purchases and sales. Okay, so reservations is where we put in any quantity that's reserved of a particular item, kind of like a layaway. So it's no longer part of your active inventory. It will be physically present in your store, but you cannot sell it because it's already been reserved. Okay. Purchases would be quantity that you are buying from the suppliers. So you're adding to your inventory. And sales is items that are sold and the customer walked into your store, paid the full amount, and walked away with the product in their hand, so that you have to deplete the inventory. Okay, so maybe you already have an inventory system in place, and you are looking to replace it with this particular system. So in order to be more useful, what we are to do is the day we roll this out, we'll take a count of all the items that we have in the store. Okay, all the items that are physically present in the store. We add all this up for each, keeping a tally for each item separately, and then we subtract for each item how many items are on reservation, have been reserved. Because like I said, we are going to be working with your active inventory. If it's reserved, it's no longer available for sale. So only items that are available for sale. Now, when you take that tally, take the physical count and you subtract the reservation, what you have is the active inventory on at that moment in time. Okay, that would give you the opening balance for this system here. So that's the column that we are adding. Okay. Now, let's just go ahead and for simplicity, I'm just going to put it 10 for each of them. What that means is the active inventory for all these items is 10. Okay. So that's the first enhancement that we did. Now we come to reservations. And the second enhancement that we'll be doing is adding a column here that gives you available balance. Okay. Now we will work on this column. We'll be putting in a formula here that will calculate what the available balance is, and that's part of the enhancement. But I'll point it out when we come to that. So we have the display category. Let's select a display item, a code, I'm sorry. See if you've got this. Now what I want to do is, when I select the code, I want the description to auto-populate. I want the system to go and grab the item description from the master for this particular item code. Okay, so how we do that, we just do a VLOOKUP. Okay, and we are looking up column cell B2, and we'll go into the master code and description. So 2 cells, sorry, 2 columns, and false because we want an exact match. Okay, we're not done yet. Supposing I had not put in a code here, it's going to get this item description is going to give me an error. Okay? The reason why it's giving me an error is in this master list, there is no description for a blank item code. Everything's filled in. Okay, so what I need to do is I'm going to wrap this around an if error. So if there is no error, give me this value. If there is an error, make it blank. So that will get rid of the error. That will hide the error for you. Okay. Now, if I were to select a code, it will give me a description. If the code is blank, it's just going to leave a description as blank. Okay. Now, this column is the date column. This tells you on which date the reservation is being done. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to format this as a date column. Okay. And this is the quantity. And we're going to format that as a number. We're going to use 1,000 separator and no decimal place because you can't sell half a keyboard or half a hard drive. Okay. Now, coming to this enhancement cell. This is giving you the available balance after this reserved quantity was reserved. Okay. Now, the first thing that we need to do is we need to grab what the opening balance for this particular item was. Okay. The way we do that is we use a VLOOKUP. Okay. So V2. And we go back to our master sheet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 columns. And false because we want an exact match. And this has given us the opening balance for this 14-inch display. Okay. Now, notice because we've got the item category as display selected over here, these two show bingo. It's found a match for display. Okay. This is what we had discussed this in part 1. Just pointing it out again. Now, from this opening balance, what we need to do is we need to reduce this opening balance by the reserved quantity. Okay. Now, we need to reduce this by the reserved quantity that was reserved on this date that this entry is being made, or any reservation done prior to this date. Because say for example, you put this system into place on the 1st of January 2020, and say for example today is the 5th of January and you're reserving 5 items. So the opening was 10 minus 5 will give you 5 available. But supposing you had also reserved 4 on the 4th of January, like a day before, as of yesterday was the 5th, so yesterday would be the 4th. So maybe you reserved 4 yesterday and you're reserving 5 today, and you had an opening of 10. So when you did a reservation of 4 on the 4th of Jan, from 10 minus 4 gave you 6, and today the 5th of Jan you're reserving the 5. So 6 minus 5 would give you 1. So you also have to subtract any reservation we've done prior to today, to this date, for this particular item. Okay. So the way you do that is we are going to use a sum-ifs formula. Okay. Now I'm going to sum up the reservation quantity. Now you notice I just did not just put an E. I could have done that, but the reason why I'm putting the sheet name, make it explicit that I'm talking about column E in the reservation sheet. Okay. The reason why I'm doing this, then I can do just copy paste this formula in purchases and sales, and it will still work. Because if I don't put the reservation like this, I don't specify the sheet name, and I copy and paste this formula in purchases or in sales, it would think the column E of purchases or column E of sales. And in fact, we want column E of the reservation sheet. Okay, so it's saying add up all the reserved quantity, criteria range 1, where the item code should be this. So reservations B. Okay. Now What that means is, for this particular item, add up the in this column, the column B of the reservation sheet. Now, what is the criteria? Criteria is in B2. Here we will not use, we will not specify the sheet. Why? Because when we are in purchases or in sales sheet, we need to get the code from that of that item from that sheet. So we are just adding up all the items that are of this, all the reserved quantity of that item. Of which item that we are talking about in purchase. So here we will not put the sheet name. Okay. So we've got the item code specified. Then we need to talk about the date. Here what we'll do is we will specify the sheet that we're talking about. And this is column B, C, D. And we are going to as the criteria, we're using D2, not specifying the sheet because we need to have the date where this purchase or sale is being done. Okay. Now, excuse me. What will happen is, if we just do it this way, what happening is it will not take any into account what was done prior to this date, prior to D2. What we need to do is take care of everything that's prior to this date also. Okay, so what we're going to do is, instead of just D2, we're going to put in a double quotes, less than, equal to, close double quotes, 10%. What that means is, add up all the quantities in all the reserved quantities for this particular code that was reserved on or before this date. So once again, we're adding up the quantity. We're checking the code should be this guy here, and the date should be less than or equal to this date. This whole column should be less than or equal to this date. And we close bracket and we're closing the summation. I just hit enter, let's see what happens. Still getting 10. Okay, now we're getting 10 because for this item, the opening is 10. I'm just going to make this 12 just to differentiate it from the rest of them. And now if I go into purchases, it should show me 12. Now supposing today is the 5th of January, okay, and I am reserving a quantity of 5. Now it's saying, okay, the opening was 12, okay, out of this 12, you reserved 5. So now the available balance is 7. Now, if I were to put in, say, for example, 15, this would give me a negative value. See how this gives me a negative value? So that means there's an error here. We do not have enough quantity to be reserving. Anytime you get a negative value here, means we cannot do that. Okay. So let's do a conditional formatting. Format cells that are less than 0. Okay. Now we're going to make the text bold, color white, and fill in with red, just to have it stand out. Okay. So the moment you put 15, it jumps at you that you can't do that. Now if I were to reduce it to, say, for example, 12 or 11 even, this will give me an available quantity of 1, and the color will no longer be red. If I even put in 12, it will still say 0. As long as I don't go above the available, what is allowed, how much I have of the event active. The moment I put in 13, give me a negative one and it turns red. Okay, so let's just go back and just put in 5. Okay, now we are not done yet, because what we had done is we took the opening and we subtracted whatever the reservations was. What about uh, purchases that you have bought, that you have done from your suppliers? You had an opening, and then after the opening, you brought more. You bought more quantities of this particular item. So you need to add that to the active inventory. So this time here we were depleting, and now we are adding to the inventory. We do in sum ifs. Now, because we're talking about the purchases, here I'm going to actually specify the sheet that I'm talking about. Just column E of purchases. Okay. Now the criteria range. What is the criteria range that I'm going to be talking about? I'm going to talk about purchases of the item that's in this B2 cell that was bought before this date. Okay. Now the reservations is E, and purchases are E. So if I were to, right now we have not built this sheet, but let me just copy this code here and put in a purchase quantity of say 15. Now we had an opening of, and I'm also going to put in the date. I'm going to put in 4th of Jan. Okay. Now on the 4th of Jan we bought 15 of this 14-inch display. The opening was 12. So on the 4th we bought 15. So now we have an active inventory of 37 minus 5 that we are reserving. So we should be left with, I'm sorry, 12 plus 15 is 27, minus 5 gives you 22. Okay, so you see how it took care of the purchases also. When we had not put in the purchased amount, we could only go up to 12. The moment we exceeded 12, it gave us a red mark, an error. Okay. Now since we have made a purchase of 15, now we can go up to total of 27, and we are reserving 5 here. Okay. So we're not done yet. Okay. So we've got the reservations, we've got the purchases, but we have also sold some product that's going to come in the sales tab. Okay. So when we sell a product, we need to deplete the inventory. So we add another line here, sum ifs, sales. Okay. It's adding up the E column in the sales sheet in a way that the sales code column B, is B2, and sales column D, which is the date column, is less than equal to D2. Okay, so if you see very standard. Reservation E, purchases E, sales E. Reservation B, purchases B, sales B. Reservation D, purchases D, sales D. We are adding up the purchases in E, reservations in E, purchases in E, column E, and sales in E. Criteria is reservation B column should be B2, purchases B column should be B2, sales B column should be B2. Reservation D column should be on or before D2, purchases D column should be on or before D2, sales D column should be on or before D2. Okay, now we had a opening balance of 12, okay, and we bought a quantity of 15, so 12 plus 15 gives you 27. So 27, and you out of this 27 you reserved 5, so that gave you an available balance of 22. Okay, but supposing we copy to the sales, I'm just going to copy this guy here, and the quantity is 3. I'm sorry, I'm just going to leave it blank for now. Let me show you. So right now the quantity is 22. If I had sold 3 on the 4th of January, this should go down to 19. There you go. So you see how all the three categories, the reservations, the purchases, and sales, they're all tied together. All right. Now, click on, we are done, almost done with this sheet here. Click on the last cell, hit tab. Now you see an error comes here. That's because of this VLOOKUP. So what the first thing that we'll do is, the second thing is, everything else follows through. This is B2, this is B3, okay, everything else works. But we need to take care of this error because of this VLOOKUP. And here what we'll do is we'll put it if error. If there is no error, then grab that value, opening value. If there's error, put a 0. The reason why we are putting 0 here, because we are doing some arithmetic here, adding a subtraction. We don't want a blank. Okay. So now it gives you with a balance 0 because there's nothing here. Now, if we were to do another entry of the same product, this time what we are doing is, if you come here, what's happening? Do you realize what's happened? It's gone down to 12. Why has it gone down to 12? Why has this gone down to 12? That's because this is blank. Okay? Now, because this is blank, it's thinking that all of before this date, all of before a blank date, it just grabs you the opening balance. Okay, so we need to go back and make it as a fix that we should not be showing you the available balance unless everything is filled in. Okay, so what I'll do is I can get rid of this if error. And I'll put an if and A2 is not blank, B2 is not blank, D2 is not blank, and E2 is not blank. If all of this, I'm sorry, it's A2. If A2, the category is not blank, code is not blank, reservation date is not blank, and the reservation quantity is not blank, only then calculate the available balance. Now, if any of those is blank, then just put a 0. Okay. So you see how this is 0 now? Because it doesn't know what to do. There's no reservation date or anything. That's why just showing you as 0. Okay. In fact, instead of 0, because that might confuse people saying that maybe the available balance is 0. Let's see. Incomplete entry. Now, when I'm going to blank this out, I'm going to blank this out. Okay. I'm saying incomplete entry. Now I'm going to select the display. I'm going to select the 14-inch display. I'm going to put in a date of 4th of Jan and reservation quantity of 1. Now it's going to calculate. Now, let me show something. This is 23, but this is 18. How come? Because this was, even though you are entering it after, the reservation date is prior to this date. So, opening was the 12th. On 4th of Jan, you bought another 15. So on the 4th of Jan, your available active inventory became 27. And out of the 27, on the 4th of Jan, you sold 3. So you're down to 24. And then you reserved 1, you're down to 23. Now from the 23, next day on the 5th of Jan, you reserved 5. So now you're down to 18. Now it's all coming together. Okay. So if you've got pretty much this sheet done, now the only thing I need to do is I'm going to lock some cells. I'm going to click here, go to view, freeze pans. This is why I'm doing this. When I scroll down, I don't want the headings to move. All right, fair enough. Okay. Now, excuse me. What I can do is, see these guys here? What I could do is I could just simply select everything and paste. And paste. Now what I need to do is go back to purchases. I'm going to make this heading to purchase. Purchase date. Purchase quantity. Available balance. Sales. Sale date. Sale quantity. Okay. Now you see how the available balance for all is coming the same. The only thing I need to change now is, or to fix, is this pivot table here. Instead of reserve found, what I need to do is via the purchases. So what I need to do is, instead of reserve found as the filter, I'm going to put purchase found. Okay. When I do that, I come here, click here, go back, I'll fix the filter, take out the bad selection. There you go. Okay. And if I come back here, I insert a line, battery, it's working. Okay. Now I come to sales. I need to do the same fix here. Here, instead of reserved found, I remove this and I go sales found. Okay. And get rid of the bad selection. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this row. I am going to make this, the sale was done on the 4th of Jan. Quantity was 3. Purchases, I'm going to delete this row. I'm going to delete this row. And on the 4th of Jan, we made a purchase of 15 reservations. There you go. Now, the reason I did this, let me just run through this quickly. Display, the 4-digit display, the quantity that we had was 12 as your opening. And on the 4th of January, we bought the 15 of those. So 12 plus 15 took it to 27. But on the 4th, we also sold 3. So it came down to 20. Let me get rid of this line also. There you go. So the opening was 12. On the 4th, we bought 15. So the quantity goes to 24. On the 4th, we sold 3. It came down to 24. And on the 5th, we reserved 5. The quantity comes to 19. Okay. Now, let's make another entry in the reservation. We'll stick with the same code. And this time, this reservation is done on the 4th of Jan. And we are reserving 6. So, opening was 12. Let's assume it was 1st of Jan. So on the 1st of Jan, it was 12. Then purchase was 15. So we bought 15. So on the 4th of Jan, total became 27. But then on the 4th of Jan, we sold 3. So it became 24. Now on the 4th of Jan, we also reserved 6. So we've got 18 here. So the 4th of Jan, the total was available was 18. Then on the 5th of Jan, you reserved another 5. Oops, sorry. And went to 13. So now it's keeping track of what you have as your available. Now, on the 5th, because this was done prior to this, is keeping track of that. Okay, so it's keeps your inventory code-wise and also date-wise. It keeps it in chronological order. So that's it for this second part. So just to recap, we added another column here for the opening balance, and we also added a column here for the available balance, and we put in the formula that would look at firstly make sure everything is filled in. Otherwise, it will not calculate. It will just give you an incomplete entry, a message called incomplete entry. If it goes less than 0, it will give you a negative value, so it will turn red. And what it does is it takes the opening balance, subtracts the reservations on or before that date, adds purchases on or before that date, subtracts sales on or before that date. So that is your inventory system, and we've got all three modules working. Okay, so I hope you liked this video. If you did, please kindly give me a thumbs up, and if you would like to see more videos like this, please do subscribe. And if you have any questions about this two-part video series or any video that I have done in the past, please do mention in the comment section below, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much.